Well, hello everybody out there in Jammin' Java Land. This is really gonna be a fun night tonight because we have the funkiest Barry sax player on the planet in the house. I am so excited. This is so cool. One of my heroes, one of my friends. It's so cool when your heroes become your friends. That's kind of a rare deal. But this is going to be a special night because it's going to be all about Mr. Stephen, Doc Kupka tonight. But before we get there, we're going to start with a word of prayer because it's always great to start everything you do with a word of prayer. And of course, we have our resident pastor, Pastor Chuck Pearson, who's going to lead us in an opening prayer. So take it away, Pastor Chuck.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Hope you had a great President's Day and probably more importantly, a better Valentine's Day yesterday. The other day I was on the internet and I came across a question which intrigued me a little bit. It asked this: what was the number one song on your birthday when you turned 21? Well, I have to admit I had no idea, and that's been a while ago. No smart remarks, Robbie. And so I had to do some math to figure out what day that was, first of all, and then look it up on the internet. So a couple of groups that you may have heard of. Number one song in the United States on September 3rd, 1965. Now you can do the math to figure out how old I am. Was song Help by the Beatles. In the United Kingdom, the number one song was I've Got You, Babe by Sonny and Cher. But just to kind of give it all around fairness, one of the things that also pointed out was the number one country song. And if you wonder if you know that or have heard of this, it's called The Bridge Washed Out, subtitle And My Baby's on the Other Side, by Werner Mack. It was a single. So I have to confess to you that I had never heard of Werner Mack and never heard the song till I played the video. And I suppose no smart remarks on my part. At any rate, the question is, what do all three of those songs, or even the question, have to do with anything in terms of a spiritual devotional tonight? And I'm going to say I have absolutely no idea. And to make something up would probably be pretty thin, but I'm going to try. Real quick here. All of us get to the point in life where we have to cry for help. And we cry to God, and his answer to us is, I've got you, babe. And with him, the bridge is never washed out. All right, that's all pretty thin. I recognize that. It's not the best of theology, but maybe it's helpful for you to recognize that. Let's pray. Father in heaven, we just thank you for the gifts of love and that you constantly shower down on us. Thank you for the time, the talents, the treasures you have poured out on each one of us, Father. Help us to use those in order to bring your love and bring your tenderness and compassion to other people. There are a lot of people, Father, that are suffering in this current pandemic, and we ask you, Father, that you would bring healing and health to them. And each one of us have people or things that are heavy on our hearts, and we ask you to hear those cries as well. Most of all, help us to enjoy this evening and to use it as an opportunity to celebrate your love and your compassion to us and the gifts that you share with each one of us. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen. So, Robbie, I'm assuming that you have probably never heard of or don't know Werner Mack and probably don't know the song The Bridge Washed Out because it's different genre than you generally play. But I have a question, two questions actually for you. Number one, do you know what song was number one when you turned 21 on your birthday? Now, the other one is, I hope the doctor is in the house. Is he? Good night, everybody. God bless.
Oh, you would have some questions for me, wouldn't you there, Pastor? Okay, the song. Let's see. What was the song when I the year I was born? I see that would have been. I think the song was it was probably a song by the Beatles. Probably around 1964. It might have probably be she probably was I Want to Hold Your Hand. I think that was the song that was the year I was born. And then and if you believe that, then I've got some Swampland. And is the doctor in the house? We shall find out soon. Now, I always play something, and so I'm going to get the playing out of the way before we get to the meat of this night. And I'm going to play a song that the doctor is playing on. So I'm going to play live. I've got a track on here of a song that we did on the Robinson Brothers. Oh, you know what? Hold on a second. Do I have one here? No, I don't have one. Darn it. I was going to show you a Robinson Brothers CD, but Doc Kupka played Barry sax on the Robinson Brothers CD, and there were a bunch of great horn players and a bunch of great musicians. Craig Pilo, Fino, of course, Harry Kim, Warren Ham, and Doc Kupka on, and I think it was Bones Malone on trombone. Yeah. So this is called "Coming Home, Baby," and we did this when we went back to Litchfield, Illinois, which is, of course, my hometown. We get this organ, and I've shown you this one before. Of course, this is my brand new Hammond SK Pro, which I just absolutely love. And I'll get a chance to play around with it on this song. So this is Coming Home Baby from the Robinson Brothers CD with me playing live. It's just a track here. And with, of course, the funky Doc Kupka on the Barry sax. You're going to hear him prominently displayed. I'll turn this off. All right, I thought that would be an appropriate one to do. Hold on, let me turn this down, or else I'm gonna get some feedback here. There we go. I thought that one would be a good one to play tonight because our buddy Doc. Oh, let me. Oh yeah, I am on. All right, I see some comments already. I see Bert Lansden. Thank you, Bert. Oh, here, let me put some of these on here. Let's see if we see. Now, here's a question. Michael Crosby says, Hammond organ with which I am unfamiliar. This is a brand new Hammond. It's called the Hammond SK Pro. And this is not even released yet. There's only about 6 of them around the country. And I was blessed to be able to get that one. And it's Hammond organ, baby. There's nothing like it. Just like a B3 in a little box here with all kinds of synthesizers and other kinds of stuff. Thomas Peasley from Michigan. Hello, Thomas Peasley. My brother Ray Reynolds in the house. How you doing, brother? Thank you, Michael Crosby. Bert's there. Thank you, Bert. Hey, Litchfield is in the house, too. Bob Sneed. 1 degree in Litchfield tonight. Whoa, dude. There is an advantage to living in Southern California. Hello, Jefferson Rodriguez, and look who's in the house. Gary Swan, my Hammond brother. Well, I think I'm not going to waste any more time because this is going to be a really, 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 really cool night. So let me introduce our guest to you. This guy is a dear friend of mine, and he's a colleague. I'm blessed to say that we've had a chance to do a lot of music together through the last few years. But he is an icon. He is the best funky Barry sax player in the world. There is none better. There are none better. There is none better, whatever the grammar is. And he's been with Tower Power since the beginning. As a matter of fact, Tower Power has their starting date as the day that Doc Kupka joined. Oh, and I gave away his name. So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, it is my absolute honor to introduce you to you, Stephen Doc Kupka. Hello, Doc. You're in the house.
Bobby. You might have to join a new union with your singing.
Oh, you didn't realize I had that singing talent.
No, I knew, but
No. Hey, it's so cool to have you here, man. And what's cooking? Good looking?
We're just trying to make it through the pandemic, and one good part of the pandemic is that you and I have been able to write 8 songs since the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
So I love writing worship songs, and that's what we write together. And Tower Power is, waiting till the vaccine comes out and people don't feel like they're going to die if they go to a nightclub. And there will be a big pent-up demand for our music, same as with Frankie Valli, when the vaccine is widely spread.
Now, you guys, Tower Power, you have been with Tower Power since the beginning. And I've got a little clip to talk about how you got into the band. But before we do that, let's talk about the beginning of Tower Power. You guys go back to what year? 67, I think.
68.
Oh, 68, yeah. I know the date, too. August the 13th.
Yeah.
Because it's my birthday. That's how I remember.
That's a good one.
Yeah. So tell us about how you first got started. Actually, I'm going to have Emilio talk about that. I've got a clip of Emilio talking about that clip. But how's it feel to be that 68? That's 53 years, dude.
It's a long time ago, and I'm very proud to have somehow made it through all these years and can still play. And I can't dance as good as I used to, but that's all right. They don't come to see me dance, really. They come to hear us play, and the band sounds tremendous still. And anyway, so that was the start. We used to play nightclubs, and we still play nightclubs.
Down in the nightclub,
yeah,
huh?
as well as other venues.
And a lot of things that people don't know about you. I mean, there's going to be a lot of things that I think people are going to find out about Funky Doctor tonight. But one of the things they don't know about you is you're not only this funky Barry sax player, you have written the majority of the songs of Tower Power.
I have, and it's a real blessing to be a songwriter. I always wanted to be one. And, when I started, it was mostly music, but I always had a way with words, at least in my opinion. And I was able to put that to good use in writing lyrics. I mean, some, like What Is Hip, to me, a very classic song, very, very classic lyrics. Only So Much All on the Ground, and several others. And I've continued to this day.
Yeah, and I've known a lot of your colleagues through the years because of with Frankie Valli, we always have horn players in the band, and some of your current guys. Adolfo has done our show many times. I mean, done the Frankie Valli show a number of times.
Tom Pollock.
Tom has done it, and Sal hasn't done it. Sal was on Jam for Jesus.
Right.
And then, of course, some of your other alumni I've known through the years. Chickowitz and a lot, and just a bunch of guys. But I've got a clip that I think I like to play for the audience, and it's a little clip. It's a song that one of the songs that you indeed are known for. It's Squib Cakes, which is a funky instrumental, and Santana, Carlos Santana is playing on this with you guys.
Oh yeah.
So I'm going to go to that clip. Check this out, guys.
Let's see if we can do this thing.
What is our Squib Cakes? Unbelievable, man. You guys are a killing band.
Yeah, that's sounding good, I must admit.
I think that was the 40. Well, that was Carlos Santana. Would that have been the 40th
No,
anniversary?
it's a Montreux Jazz Festival, and around, I can't remember what year, probably 10, 15 years ago.
You couldn't find a better guitar player to sit in with you, huh?
Carlos is quite a legend.
Now, you guys have a lot of history with Carlos, because you're both from the Bay Area. What is your history? How do you get connected?
We did a tour with him when he took us out with him, and we also played a session, put some big horns on one of his songs, so he was very helpful to us when we first started out, and we kind of paid him back when he plucked Chester Thompson away from us in 1982. But whatever, in those days we were really down on not making any money, and he was huge, and then more lately Ray Green, our singer, he took him, but whatever. Carlos means a great deal to the world of music, and I do appreciate what he did for us when we were starting out.
No question about it. And you guys, the band is one of the... I've seen you guys live many times, because whenever you come around here and play, I've been a fan of you guys long before I knew you. Although we met briefly back in 1978, when I was still a young man, and you were still a young man, no pun intended. And if you remember, we played a gig together up in Lake Tahoe, Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons, and Tower of Power. What a cool week that was, a whole week long.
Yeah, it was great. Frankie was real nice to us, and it was nice meeting you, and fun playing. And I used to love that the showroom at Harrah's in Lake Tahoe. And Lake Tahoe isn't what it was for entertainment, but we still get up there, and Anyway, it was fun meeting you, and it's really fun writing songs with you today, years later.
Oh man, to write with you is an absolute honor, and just to know you is an honor. And somebody put a post here. Toby Simmons says the TOP is fantastic. She said she saw you a few months ago at the Ventura County Fairgrounds.
Oh yeah, our one gig during COVID, and it was outdoor, it was like a drive-in movie. It was at the parking lot of the Ventura Fairgrounds, and it was like cars came and we played, and it was really fun because we hadn't played in some months, and that was our only one.
I saw that. I watched. I thought about going out there, but then I watched it on my computer.
Oh, that's right. They streamed it. Yeah.
They streamed, and I'll tell you what, I was blown away. Not only by, first of all, how good you guys sounded having been off for so many months. How do you sound so tight?
We rehearsed.
Well, how many times? You couldn't rehearse too much.
No, but I think 2 or 3 days. Probably 3 days. Because Ray Green was singing with us because our singer was no longer with us, so we went back to Ray, and I love Ray. Anyway,
Ray is great.
And so we had to rehearse him in as well as rehearse all the songs we hadn't played in months.
And the cool thing is that you also had a trumpet player filling in, our buddy Harry Kim.
Oh, that's right. Sal was sick.
Right.
Anyway, Harry Kim has done several gigs with us, and he's quite the character, and it's always fun playing with him.
He and I have been making music together for years and years, decades actually. And he's played with us, Frankie, done Jam for Jesus for about 25 years, believe it or not. And he lives right here in Simi Valley.
All right.
Here we are downtown. Let's see who else has been. Let's see who's talking to us here, Doc. I'll lean on my keyboard here. Pam Weiss from Litchfield says hello. Deb Warner is in the house. Hello, Deb. My brother Scott Robinson, he lives in Columbus, and he says one of the greatest bands ever. And I agree with him. You guys are unbelievable. Unbelievable band. Tight. Every aspect about it. Carlos Etzberger from Brazil. How do you like that? We got people from all over the world.
Worldwide, baby.
Hello, my dear best music director. Oh, thank you so much, Carlos. Let's see what else we got here. Somebody says, I love the song Squib Cakes. We just played a little bit of that. We're going to play some more. Somebody mentioned Squib Cakes, you guys doing it with, well, I'm going to save that one for later, so never mind. I'm the one to tease the audience. Presentation, what? Jefferson Rodriguez, the band live on Letterman in 1986, great. I went through some clips today of you guys on YouTube and pulled down some clips, and there's so many clips of you guys. What a great band. I mean, and it doesn't matter who your lineup was in the horn section, because mostly the same rhythm section, but you guys always kicked butt. Always were great. As a matter of fact, let's play one of those clips. How about, I'm going to get you, well, somebody mentioned What Is Hip. And I've got a clip. This is from a couple years ago, What Is Hip. I think it's from 1977.
Cool. Let's go.
Let's see what we got here. Okay, What Is Hip? Hold on a second. Here it goes.
So you wanna jump out your trick bag and ease on into hip bag. You ain't just exactly sure what's hip. Started to let your hair grow. Spin things must have come your wardrobe. Somehow you know there's much more to the trip. What is it? You know. Yeah, I didn't find you a guru, and I ever defined you a new you. Maybe even managed to raise your conscious level. But you got to find the right road. There's one thing you should know. What's in today might become passé. What is it? Tell me if you think you know. What is it? If you're really good, the best thing is to know you wanna give it. Maybe give it a hit. What is it? Y'all think about it, okay? Tell me if you think you know. What is it? If you're really hip, the person is Michelle. What is it? Tell me if you think you know. What is it? If you're really hip, the person is Michelle. What is it? I said to know, yeah. What is it? Is it in the style of your hair? What is it? Is it in the clothes that you wear? What is it? Is it in driving a big fast car? What is it? Is it in trying to be a movie star? I got to know. What is it, y'all? Now can you tell me? What is it, yeah? Do you know? Is it the hair, the clothes, the color, the size, the style you wanna be? I got to know. What is it, y'all? I got to
What is hip, my brother? That's kicking.
It's a long time ago, too. Did you notice?
1977. I remember I was a little kid. I must have been about 3 years old, and I would watch you guys on TV and stuff.
You were a prodigy. Frankie,
No.
Frankie hired a prodigy.
Hey, you know what? Saw you dancing. One of the things that struck me about your band, because it's this amalgamation, great jazz players. I mean, you all have all this ability. Great jazz, great funk, great soul. Of course, I know that Emilio always says we're a soul band, and that's what you are first and foremost, I guess. But you also know about show business. You dance it up, you're entertaining. You're not turning your back on the audience. What's that all about? About the entertainment side?
No, it just, they're there for entertainment, and we try to give it to them. You know, I must admit that the playing music actually takes precedence over the any kind of choreography. You know, we do a little now. We're older now, so it's not as much, but we still try to be entertaining, and we play tight and play good.
Well, and I remember because I remember seeing a clip about Emilio talking about you guys doing steps. So you've been doing that since the beginning, though, right? The steps and all that.
Oh yeah, we used to do more than we do now.
And I know coming up too, because all my bands, I would make sure all the guys were doing steps and all that stuff, because there's a degree no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're doing in music, because the music always comes first, no matter what we do. But no matter what you are performing, you have to sell the music sometimes, because there were the days when some of the greats who would even turn their back on the audience, and it got to be a kind of a downer, because it's like they didn't care about the audience. And it's all, there is a bit of theatrics in everything we do.
Yeah, well, some people, stars, if there's a gig, they don't get paid as much as they figure they should. They, minimize their show to show them.
Yeah, exactly.
I saw a Miles Davis gig one time that was, he must have not got paid near what he wanted. But anyway, we try not to do that. I mean, that doesn't work in anyone's favor doing it. And
Absolutely.
so,
But at the same time, you guys play. You go. Hey, and I hear somebody, an old friend of mine who's watching this, and here I've got to put it up here. He says, "Say hi to Doc for me, Stan Behrens, harmonica player from the band War."
oh, I
You know
Stan.
Stanley?
Sure.
Stan. Stan and I used to play with Les DeMero's band back in the 70s together. Stan, if you remember those days. And Stanley Behrens, here's why I love Stanley Behrens. He was also in Jimmy Smith's band. And if you're in Jimmy Smith's band, for a Hammond organ guy, that's the top of the mountain,
There you go.
you know. Speaking of Hammond organ, and everybody that knows me knows I love Hammond organ. But Hammond organ has always been central in Tower Power, right?
Ever since Chester joined, in Bump City, we didn't have an organ.
Oh, really?
There was some piano put on by this blind keyboard player from Nashville named Jay Spell,
Uh-huh.
who's a friend of Steve Cropper's. And boy, Steve had a great quote about Jay Spell. He said, "If he can't play it, it can't be played."
Wow.
So I mean, he was really good.
That's
but
high praise.
but then when Bruce Conti joined the band, he knew about Chester, and with Bruce, it sounded much better to have a keyboard player too. With Willie Fulton, it didn't matter as much. So anyway, Chester joined, and Hammond's been a big part of our band ever since.
I
that
mean,
day.
obviously the horns. I mean, maybe Chicago, they have a front line of horns too. But Blood, Sweat, and Tears' front line is not the horns. It's always, been a kind of a singer first. And I mean, to me, the great horn bands are Tower Power, Chicago, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, and Earth, Wind, and Fire. Have I left anybody out?
Well, the Memphis Horns, those soul bands.
Yeah.
They were a great horn section. Whoever Jerry Ragavoy used on Howard Tate's records, that was one of the all-time great horn sections ever. I don't know who they were, but they sure were good.
By the way, I don't want to interrupt you, but somebody's trying to call in. Let me see who this is a second. Hold on, I'm getting a phone call here. Let's see. Okay, I see somebody there. Let me see here if I can put him into the show. I think you might know this guy. Let's see if I go here. Bear with me, everybody. I have to. Okay, we got to do that, and then we go here. Let's see. Oh, there you are. Emilio Castillo is in the house. Hey, Emilio. Talk to us. Let me see if I can hear you.
Hi, how you guys doing?
We're good, man. I'm here with Doc. Can you see Doc on the screen?
I do see him.
Hi, partner. I can't see you, but I know you're there.
I am here.
I'm gonna do a little bit of adjusting your camera here a minute, Emilio. Get you a little dialed in here. There you are, and I'm gonna select this off here. Let me see here. We're getting there. So Emilio, where are you calling in from?
My home in Scottsdale, Arizona.
Ah. Well, I am so honored to have your partner, and I would say in crime, but there's no crime intended or done. But you guys have one of the most extraordinary bands in the history of music, and congratulations, kudos to both of you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much. So, what do you got to say about this Barry saxophone player, this oboe guy who turned Barry sax player? What do you got to say about him?
Well, the first thing I want to ask Doc is, Doc, have you been working on your weight? You look really great.
A little bit. I'm usually on a modified diet, but yeah, a little bit. And thank you for the compliment. I've been doing acupuncture. Maybe that helps me to be looking better.
And one thing, you know what, I did not say to the audience, which I should do, because all the musicians are going to know Emilio Castillo. But there may be somebody out there, and who knows, hiding in. We've got people all over the world watching tonight. So somebody from somewhere that may not know who Emilio Castillo is. Emilio Castillo is the founder, he's the leader, he's the boss of Tower of Power. So you are the boss man.
The buck stops here.
The buck stops there, and you're not only the boss, you're a brilliant tenor saxophone player.
Well, I don't know about that, but I do play tenor.
Yeah, well, I want to say something, and that's our band would not be together today without Emilio, because a band of all these talented musicians, neurotic artists, and such, you need a strong leadership and you need a final word, and Emilio's provided that. And my hat's off to you, Emilio. We would not be together today without you. So thank you for that.
Thanks, Doc. I appreciate it.
Kudos to you for that. Kudos to you. I've been a band leader since I'm 14 years old, so about 10 years now. And but the reality is, I have been a band leader. I know what it's like to be a band leader. And I give you such incredible kudos, along with Doc, what he said, to keep a band together of amazing musicians, and that big of a band going around the road for over 50 years. That is a super talent in itself. So
well, I've been very fortunate. I've been blessed with some great people, and I learned how to pick them a little better in the later years,
Yeah, there's part of that, isn't it? About getting the right musicians. It doesn't matter necessarily how great they play. They also have to have the personality to work in the context of a band.
Well, it helps if they have principles, because it's hard to sort of, spend all that time together with unprincipled people. So
yes.
That's a real prerequisite for being in the band. You got to have some good principles.
And one of the things that I noticed about your band too is that you have done, until the pandemic hit us, 150 to 200 shows a year for, like I said, 50 years. How in the world do you do that?
That's the only way I know how to do it. People ask me that all the time. I don't know how you do it. And I said, I don't know. It's what I've always done. I mean, that seems normal to me,
So, Doc, do you remember when you first met Emilio?
Sure, I do.
Tell us.
They were the Motowns, and it was at the Alameda County Fair, and the little razor cut, sharp little band, choreographed to the T, playing not just the hits of the day, but some more obscure, great soul tunes. And I was a roadie for the Loading Zone, a hippie soul band, and learning how to play Barry. And just right when I met them I was ready to see if I could do it. And I'll tell you the story. I went to Emilio after the show, and I said, "You guys got a great band." And he said, "Oh, thanks." I said, "One small problem." He said, "Oh, what's that?" "It's your horn section. It needs a little bottom. By the way, I play baritone sax, and I have a Selmer with a low A key." And I was Selmer then. I'm Yamaha now, and I'm proud to be that. And he gave me a tryout, and except for a few days off for bad behavior, I've been in Tower Power 52 years.
Unbelievable. Does that sound like you remember it as well, Emilio?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah.
You know what? 52 years you guys been making music together. That's pretty extraordinary in itself.
It's a miracle.
It is a miracle.
I like to say we're God's favorite soul band, allowing us to stay together for so long.
Well, that's a pretty good audience to have.
You bet.
And one of the things that I love about the three of us, too, is that we all put him first in our lives.
Absolutely.
And I know that he has blessed you guys. He's blessed me, and that's part of the thing. Is, of course, You know, Johann Sebastian Bach is a huge influence on me. And what he did at the bottom of most of the manuscripts he wrote SDG, which stands the Latin phrase Soli Deo Gloria, to God be the glory. And so his motto was, no matter what you're doing, every music, whether he's writing secular music or sacred music, give the glory to God.
As it should be.
Amen. Now, the last time I saw you in person, because I did watch I was telling Doc earlier, I watched you guys on that Ventura fair date that you did stream live. You guys sounded amazing. Fantastic.
Thank you very much. That was a unique gig. It was one of those drive-in gigs where people came in their cars and the mix was broadcast over everybody's FM stereo. And it was a different sort of gig. And we hadn't gigged for, it had already been 6 months, I think. And so, yeah, but we were all jonesing to see each other. And we rehearsed for a couple of days and it was glorious. We had a great time.
Well, there was an energy there. And I was struck because I've heard you guys live many, many, many times. I was struck about how tight you guys sounded on that show, and I knew you hadn't played for such a long time. It was extraordinary how tight it was.
Yeah, well, muscle memory.
Well, even that's sick. Now the last time I saw you in person tomorrow will be 1 year, and you came out to see Frankie Valli in the Four Seasons and hung out.
I remember very well.
And
yeah, great night.
I wonder if I have a picture of that here. I'm looking here. I don't think I do because it was a cool picture. No, I don't have it. But one of the things about Frankie Valli, there is some history with Frankie Valli and Tower Power. The first time, because back in the mid to late 70s, you guys, the Tower Power horns played on a couple Frankie Valli records. Do you remember that?
Absolutely.
Bob
Gaudio was
Gaudio was the producer, which is, Frankie and Bob have been partners for actually longer than you two guys have been partners, if anybody. But Bob has been the chief songwriter and the primary producer of Frankie's, most of Frankie's stuff, and each one is a partner to this day. But I still have some of the charts upstairs that Greg Adams did for those horn sessions you guys did.
Yeah, Bob Gaudio, I remember he was very picky, and he was very he knew what he wanted, and he made sure he got it, and it was a pleasure working with him. It was really a learning experience too, to be with somebody that experienced and that good at what he does. So yeah, I'll never forget it. Plus, there were some other horn players on that session.
Oh, were there?
Yeah, we met Steve Madeo.
Oh yeah, Steve Madeo. He played on a lot of those Stevie Wonder songs.
Yeah, and Mick beat him up. Mick Gillette beat him up.
Oh really?
Yeah, but Gary Grant was there too, right?
Maybe so. I don't remember.
Maybe so. I'm not sure.
I believe so, and I think it was more than one day too, and I think it was Gary Grant, and I think one day it was Chuck Finley as well.
Yeah, that could be.
Didn't Chuck play with Tower Power at some point along the way a little bit, or fill in with you guys?
We did some.
We filled in.
Yeah. And then in 1978, I joined Frankie in '78. In 1978, one of my earlier gigs with Frankie was up, and I talked about this with Doc a little earlier, was in Lake Tahoe, and we played a week. I think it was a whole week. Might have been just a weekend, but I think it was a whole week with you guys at, I think, Harrah's in Tahoe. Do you remember those dates?
The South Shore Room in Harrah's, yeah, we did it. And that's when Frankie's big hit was Grease.
Right.
And it was a huge hit. And yeah, he was wowing him every night, and he dug Tower Power, and so we got to know him really well. And I saw him here and there over the years, but not a lot. And then I remember it wasn't maybe 10 years ago, we were playing at Mohegan Sun, and I noticed that he was playing there, and we did a an autograph signing
You were
after the
with Tom
show.
Jones on that, I remember too, right? Opening for Tom Jones, and then you guys played with Tom.
Well, yeah, we did that, but we did an autograph signing at the
Right.
end at the. There was a record store kind of a thing there, and I was signing autographs, and everybody had gone through the line, and all of a sudden I hear, "Hey man, you're looking good," and I look up and I saw the gold record. He always wore that medallion. It's a gold record, and it would lay there on the hair on his chest. It looked so classy, And I look up and I see the gold record, and I go, and it's him. He's right in my nose, And I go, oh man. He goes, I had to stop by and say hello. And I was really flattered because I hadn't seen him in years. I didn't even know if he remembered, And then, after that, a few years later, I wound up going to a couple of your shows. I saw you guys at Celebrity Theater, and then at Gamage also. And he was always so gracious. And God, it was hard for me to believe that he sounded better. He sounded better than he did in '78. I was like, man, this guy's like wine. It's better and better.
He's got that fountain of youth. I mean, he's 86. He's going to be 87 in May. Yet he doesn't show one sign of slowing down. I talked to him this morning. I mean, we're rock and rolling still. Crazy.
He looks great too. I mean, he really does.
So my
wife and I were watching a movie last night with Michael Douglas and Diane Keaton called So It Goes, and all of a sudden there's Frankie Valli. He played a club owner, and Michael Douglas was giving him a hard time, making him pay a bunch of money to hire Diane Keaton, and he was playing it great. He looked great. I was like, "That's Frankie," and my wife goes, "What?" I go, "That's Frankie Valli. Look," and she goes, "Oh my God!" Yeah. He looked fabulous.
This guy is an enigma. I've been shoulder to shoulder with him for all these decades, and he still blows my mind with what he does. I mean, I just, he's broken. They broke the mold with that guy. There'll never be another Frankie Valli. As there will never be another Tower of Power, my friends. You guys are.
When I came to see him at the Gamage, I went backstage and I went up to him and I go, Frankie, how long do you think you'll do this? He goes, I don't know, a few more years till I can't do it anymore.
Exactly. He may be the first 100-year-old rock and roller. Who knows?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
It wouldn't surprise me. Now, you guys talk about landmarks. I think it was 2 years ago. Well, it was 2019, I guess, when you did your 50th anniversary concert, right? Or was it 2018? Was it that long ago? Because I took a road trip from here. My grandson and I hopped in the car, drove up to Oakland to see Watch That. You guys killed it that night.
Yeah, June 1st and 2nd, 2018.
And I know that you're working that the DVD is getting ready to come out, the video, whatever, right?
Yeah, they're going to show it. We edited it down to 1 hour, and they're going to show that on PBS, and they're going to auction off the full DVD version, which is almost 2.5 hours of music. And and it's all finished, and I think it comes out on March 26th, and people are doing pre-orders now. And right around that time, they're going to start showing it on PBS stations.
Doc, tell us about that show, because you had some alumni along that show. I was watching it. I mean, it was just off the charts. Tell the audience who some of the people that came back for that
are. Lenny Pickett, who's probably the greatest saxophone player I ever worked with, and by far, he's great. Chester Thompson, all-time great Hammond player. And then Ray Green just played trombone. For some reason, we didn't have him sing, but he plays trombone great, and that was made for a 7-piece horn section that rocked hard. We had a string section. Dave
Was that the first time that Tower ever played with a string section?
For live, yeah.
Wow.
And had some background singers, Sal's wife, Melanie, and Tony Lindsay, who used to be a lead singer for Santana. and like that. So it was like some great personnel. Sounds fabulous. What you hear the DVD and hear the music, it sounds great. So
Yeah, and it's going to be shown on PBS, right, Emilio?
Yeah, they're going to show it on PBS, I think, for like a year, and then we might do the full version off on some other medium, But yeah, it's going to come out on vinyl. It'll be 3 vinyl discs. It's going to
Wow.
be a CD DVD package and then just a DVD package. And the packaging is really great. There's a full, really long, great booklet with it. And Doc also, he didn't mention, but we had Bruce Conti came back and played with us, and
Yeah.
Rocco Prestia was playing bass on 4 of the songs. And it was just a fabulous night.
And speaking of Rocco, was that the last? Now, we lost Rocco, of course, a couple of months ago now, and I know the whole music community really mourned that because Rocco was iconic. What do you guys have to say about Rocco?
Well,
you go first, Emilio.
I played with Rocco since I was 15 years old, so we were the closest of friends, and he was definitely one of the most unique bass players in the world, and mainly because he had no idea technically what he was doing.
Wow.
He was not a musical technician. He understood numbers. I taught him numbers when I was still a teenager, and we usually communicated in numbers. But everything that he did, it came from the gut. Nothing came from the head, And I think that's what made him so unique. And you'll hear bass players all over the world that have been influenced by him, and a lot of bass players try to play that sort of bumping kind of style, and yet it never is quite the same because it comes from a head place. It's a mind, and whereas his was always from the gut. He's a total field player, fabulous, and a sweetheart of a guy. He over the years he got real gruff, and he had a little attitude about him. But the last 5 years he was with us, we saw him soften up, and brought back that I used to call him Frank, because when I first met him, that was his name, Frank Houghton, and Frank sort of came out there towards the end, and I remember when we took him off the road, he was really upset, because Tower Power was his whole life.
Sure.
But he kept on breaking down. He had a lot of health issues, and he was breaking down on the road. It became too expensive for us. We couldn't afford it, and he was upset about it. And then I remember it was about a month after we did the 50th anniversary, because he was still upset with us, even when he came and played the 4 songs of the 50th. But about a month later, he called me up and he says, hey, and I go, hey, Frank, how you doing? He says, I'm not mad anymore. I'd say, I just started to cry. I go,
yeah,
I'm really glad to hear that, Frank. He goes, yeah. He goes, I just wanted you to know that I'm not mad anymore. And then, he would call me every couple of weeks, and we'd talk. And I was the last person he talked to before he passed. He came to for a little bit, and Mickey called me up and put the phone to him. We had a video phone call, and I reminded him about a story. When we were kids, he had a 1939 Oldsmobile, really old car, and we had gotten that car running. It looked like one of those, mobster cars, And it was me and my brother Jack and him and Jody, my guitar player, and we had gone through this part of Fremont, California, where there was all this forest, and we were driving through there with the car, and we came out by the community center, and there was this big grassy lawn, and there was all these hippies there, and it was the first be-in. It was before they had love-in.
Yeah.
They had what was called a be-in, and this was a be-in. There was all these hippies out there, and this band was playing, and we drove right through the middle of them in the 1939 Oldsmobile, and we were laughing. We were laughing, and we were saying, we were playing Al Capone Goes to the Jungle, and I told him that story. I was laying there in bed, and he started to laugh, and I said, I love you, Frank. He says, I love you too,
Yeah,
and then Mickey said, if he comes to a little later, want me to call you again? I go, yeah, and he never called me. And a few days later, after he passed, I said, he didn't come to. He goes, no, he goes, you're the last person he talked to. And
Wow.
he knew what you were saying. He heard you say that you loved him, and he was laughing at the story. And, so yeah, it was great. We had a nice time right there at the end.
Well, as I say, the whole music community mourned because, and you said it so articulately, he influenced so many bass players. That style and all those 16th notes that he played and all in such a pocket. The cat could play. Was he that way as a teenager too? Could he play that well even as a teenager?
He always grooved. He always knew where the pocket was, always right from the beginning. And funny thing, when we hired him, we were just kids, and we hired him because we heard he played guitar and he had good hair. We thought, well, got cool hair. He plays guitar. We had lost our guitar player. Well, he came in. He played horrible guitar.
Oh, really?
I mean, he was the best guitar player you ever heard. And we had this teacher that my dad had hired named Terry Saunders. And he came and he said, I want you each to play your instrument. So we all played a little bit. And when Frank played his guitar, he said, you need to play the bass. And we all together said, what's a bass? And he goes, don't worry about it. You need one. And within 2 weeks, he was better on the bass than 7 years of guitar.
Unbelievable. Hey, Doc, so now talking about Rocco again, was that 50th anniversary concert? Was that the last time that you guys played together, or the last time he played with Power?
It was.
So if the people want to watch that show just for the monumental, and I remember hearing that, and I knew that Rocco was not in good health, but I was blown away about how he sounded so great still.
Rocco was so good. And when I joined the band, all the bass players were playing with their thumbs.
Oh, because of your Sly Family Stone
Yeah, because
influence.
of all that. And but he played with those 2 fingers, and I thought it was so cool. And I mean, when he sounded great, when I joined the band, and he was just a kid, I mean, he was like the highlight. I mean, he was great. And now you see a little thumbs once in a while, but it's almost all 2 fingers now. And I like to think that he was a big part of making that happen.
And I don't think there would be a Jaco Pastorius if there wasn't a Rocco.
That I don't know, but
because you hear that in his. Now, another thing I've heard you talk about, Doc. Everybody thinks of the horn of Tower Power horns, and obviously, you take away the horns, you're going to lose Tower Power. But another integral part of Tower Power, Doc, I've heard you mention this. If you don't mind saying something about it, the rhythm section is a burning rhythm section. What he's talking about, Rocco and the rest.
Oh yeah, well, Rocco and Dave, they were diametrically opposed as people. Dave is, ex-military, real structured, real business-like, hard worker, and Rocco was just completely played from the gut, like Emilio said, and but they were just like magic playing together, and then Chester was one of the greats, and then we've had good guitar players too. Bruce Conti fit right in with Chester, and so yeah, the rhythm section. Now Emilio should expound on that because he's the one who gives him the parts a lot of the time.
Yeah, talk about the Tower Power rhythm section. How much influence do they have on the sound of Tower Power?
It's a huge influence. It literally is the stamp of the band. People are always talking about the horns, and that's because, every band's got a rhythm section, and, there's a billion bands in the world, and they all have a rhythm section, but, not that many bands have horn sections, and certainly not 5-piece horn sections. And so that's what people notice, but really when you hear Tower of Power, what really makes it sound different from the other bands is the way we approach rhythm. We never liked the okey doke. We always wanted to mess with the rhythm. I mean, since I was a kid, I did that when my brother was the drummer before David Garibaldi came. I used to make up weird beats, and I would dictate these beats to him.
Wow.
And my brother would practice real hard to learn these beats. And then I would make up bass parts, show them to Frank, and he would learn them on the bass. And I would make up a guitar part that would go in and out of the bass and the drums. And, you know, that was what I did. To me, I looked at it like I'm making a little building here. You know, I'm building a structure. And then when Garibaldi came in the band, it was like he was a guy that, you know, he looked at rhythm the same way. He didn't want to play the okey doke rhythms that everybody else was playing. And he meets me, and I'm the guy going, yeah, whatever you want, let's do this. And he'd go, well, we could do this. And I go, yeah, well, let's do that. And you know, back and forth. And we just took it to the nth degree. We like to mess with the rhythm and come up with the unique bass lines and make that fabric between the guitar, the bass, the keyboards, and the drums so that it's unique. And that, to me, is what separates Tower of Power from the other bands.
Those drum grooves are so different, so unorthodox. I mean, it's like turn the beat around, you know, white boy kind of thing, you know. Sure. And well, you white boys have been playing that funky music for a long time, and it's so funky and it's so incredible and it's so unbelievable. My hats off. Every musician I know is a Tower of Power fan. I mean, what's not? And I've heard you guys live so many times, and you still. I mean, I love your records, but to hear I encourage the audience. If you get a chance, you have to go out and see Tower of Power live, because that experience of seeing Tower of Power live, especially in not a gigantic venue, if you can get to a smaller venue where it's really intimate, it's off the charts. So bravo, kudos to you guys.
Thanks. Listen, Robbie, I got to get going.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Well, it's my pleasure, Doc. It's great to see you there, looking good.
All right. Well,
And,
you too. We'll talk soon. Take care.
Absolutely. Love you, man.
Love you too.
Cheers.
See you guys.
We're gonna go here. Let me hit a button over here. I gotta go over to here. We're gonna take it back to 1977, Doc. You remember those years?
I do.
And you
There are a
guys.
few gaps, but I do.
Hey, how cool for Emilio to call in like that.
That was great.
And you guys have been partners for 52, 53 years now.
Coming up on 53 now.
Crazy. Well, let's go back to some of those early years, 1977. And this is a little bit of Tower of Power. And let's see if I can find it here. Right here.
Now Santana's special guest, Tower of Power.
We done found the stroke. We done found the Oakland stroke, and you gonna find the stroke. You gonna find the Oakland stroke. We all gonna find the stroke. That's right. You gonna find the Oakland stroke. Baby, gonna go. It ain't no joke. We done found the Oakland stroke. Baby, gonna go. It ain't no joke. We done found the Oakland stroke. Best things in life are free. Best things in life are free. You are free having fun. Making someone happy. You are free having fun. It'll make you feel so glad. Go out and love someone. Be as free as you can be. Oh.
Very cool stuff, brother.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites. You got to be having fun. It's upbeat. It's anyway. I'm so glad that I helped write that song.
Talk about that song. How you talk about the writing on that song?
Well, it was Hubert, our singer,
Uh-huh.
at the time, came in with the hook. You have to be having fun, just
Yeah.
like that, and we just took that, put the put the music and the modulations to it, and just got it together. So I helped on some of the other lyrics on it, and there you go.
You know what? Another song that, another here. Let me see if I've got my clip here. I've got. Well, is Squib Cakes is a song that you wrote.
No,
Oh, you didn't write.
Chester CT wrote it,
Is that?
but he featured me. So and I like hearing that song. At like if I'm watching the Warriors play basketball on TV, I still like the Bay Area teams, even though I live down here now. And
we
got some Squib Cakes and
we'll
some
forgive
What Is
you
Hip.
for that one.
Oh, you Dodger homer!
I know.
But that's okay. Be true to your school.
I'm from Litchfield, though, see? And Litchfield, Illinois, as you well know, we're going to talk about that in a minute. As a matter of fact, let's talk about that for a minute. We went back. I went, and the people who watch this show regularly know about, we're going to come back to Squib Case in a minute. They know about me and Litchfield, because I'm from Litchfield, Illinois, population 7,000 in southern Illinois. I became a Dodger fan while I was playing Little League in Litchfield, along with a friend of mine, by the way, who was on that same team with me, who is now one of the Dodger owners. How crazy is that? And you met him, Bob Plummer.
Good guy. I enjoyed meeting him.
And I got a text today that one of his lumber companies burned down today, so he's having a heck of a day.
Well, he's got insurance.
Yeah. Well, my prayers go up, and hopefully, preferably, nobody was hurt. No, hopefully, there wasn't any horrible damage. I know that especially if he lost any Dodger memorabilia. But you went back with us to Litchfield.
Oh, that was fun. Doing a benefit for the hospital there.
Yes.
And what a horn section.
I've got a picture of that horn section.
Me,
Let me see
Bobby
it.
Burns from Earth, Wind & Fire, Bones Malone, and Lou Marini. It's a fabulous four-piece horn section. It was a lot of fun and sounded great.
I'm showing a picture right now here. Lou Marini, Bobby Burns, who's a trumpet player for Earth, Wind & Fire, Bones Malone, and you. That's the four-piece horn section. And there we are. We rehearsed, if you remember, behind the tent, because this is all, the show was in a tent. It was during the afternoon. We had that rehearsal. And Joey D is with us there.
I bet he's huge in the retirement community in Florida.
Man.
What a player for his age.
And that peppermint twist, didn't that have a berry scoop in that?
Yeah, it did. It did. I remember coming up that I would check that out, and it was real fun to be playing it years later. Because when Peppermint Twist came out, I didn't know I was going to play Barry yet, but I sure liked that part in there, and it was a thrill for me to play that song.
Yeah, and Joey's one of the great guys. He's been on this show a few times. Here, I've got another picture here of, there we are rehearsing outdoors behind the tent. You can see us. And then here, I've got another picture of the show here. Oh, no, that's not. Well, that's you, Doc. There you are playing Barry. Yeah, that is actually during that show, I think. But I have another one. Oh, here's us on stage, and there's a picture of us with the horn. Oh, this is at the sound check. Tata Vega is singing here. Craig Pilo playing drums, our buddy Craig, and Fino Roverato playing guitar. Steve March, Torme, singing and playing here. Chuck Wilson playing percussion. And my brother Rex playing bass. And I got a Hammond B3 right there. And and we're going to have to do that again sometime, because we blew the roof off in Litchfield.
Yeah,
right?
and we made some good money for the hospital, too. That was nice.
Do you realize in a town of 7,000 people, we raised for the hospital $140,000 that one night. That's amazing.
Yeah, that was real fun and real worthwhile. I'm so glad we did it.
And thank you
You bet.
for
Anytime.
doing that. So let's go back to squib cakes. I've got a clip here of here. I've got to put these. How do I get rid of those? This one. Oh, there we go. Here's a clip of well, I don't know what year this is, but Ellis Hall, who was another singer with you guys.
Great singer.
And a great guy. Great musician, right?
Oh, yeah. And, he's singing one of our songs,
That's
too.
right. We're going to play that in a minute. But here is Ellis back when he was with Tower. And he's got a little, and it's him kind of featuring you, talking about Doc. So let's play this clip for the audience.
That's right. Bring it all the way down now, so talk to these folks. All right. You still with us? Well, I got a man over in the horn section, has one of the biggest horns I ever seen in my life. And right about now, I believe he wants to make a statement. So, would you like to hear from the Funky Doctor? Well, all right. Wait a minute now. Bring it down. In order to get the man to do his thing, I want you to help me out. I'm going to raise my hands, and when I raise my hands, we're going to call out his name. You ready? You ready? Okay, we're going to do it like this. Watch what I do. We say, right here, say, Doctor. I'm going to raise my hands. We say, Doctor. Let him know you care. Doctor. Let him know you're out there. Doctor. I know he can hear you say, Doctor. Calling out his name, you say, Doctor. Mean what you say when you say, Doctor. Oh, what you say right here, Doctor. Lay it on, Doc. The Funky Doctor, Stephen McKinsey Kupka. Give it up. Oh, yeah. Keep the groove going, nothing but a groove right here.
Funky stuff. You're a dancing machine there, my brother.
Oh, golly, it was years ago, and those days are over.
You're still dancing in your bones and in your brain. I know, man, and in your heart and your soul.
Yeah, it's fun hearing these years ago clips. Let's play something more up to date.
Okay, well, that guy who was a singer, Ellis Hall, we talked about. He sang actually 3 of the songs we've written.
Yeah, well, this one, God's Love Translated, is it's a worship song, which I'm writing these days. I'm older now, and it's really fun writing some worship songs, and with Robbie, ever since we met, we've started to do that. And anyway, Ellis is singing them, and it sure is fun listening to Ellis sing.
Well, we don't have a video of this, but I'm going to play the song, and I'll put up a couple pictures. So here we go. God's Love Translated, featuring Ellis Hall.
It's the way it's been done since the dawn of time. It's part of the rhythm, and it's part of the rhyme. Oh, yes, God's love translated into charity, verity, as well as clarity. God's love translated into joy for everyone. Yeah, God's love translated to tranquility, humility, and civility. God's love demonstrated when He sent His Son, and we know on His face we are instruments of His grace. So we can demonstrate the power of God is great. Here's a reason why we're here to do His will. So we will. God's love translated into charity, verity, as well as clarity. God's love translated into joy for everyone. God's love translated to tranquility, humility, and civility. God's love demonstrated when He sent His Son, and we know that it's true, that He will help you through. There is nothing you can do will take God's love from you. Here's a reason why we're here to do His will. So we will. God's love translated. God's love translated. Take it to the bridge. Get out of town. And you can get out of town. You can get out. Take it to the bridge. So you'll be heaven bound. And we know that it's real, that He can seal the deal. And it's just a natural fact. He'll keep your life on track. Here's a reason why we're here to do His will. So we will. God's love translated into charity, verity, as well as clarity. God's love translated into joy for everyone. God's love translated to tranquility, humility, and civility. God's love demonstrated when He sent His Son. Yeah. God's love translated. Tell it God's love translated. Joy to everyone. Joy for everyone. God's love translated. It's getting I'm talking about. God's love demonstrated when He sent His Son.
Wow. That kid can sing. What do you say, huh?
Ellis is the greatest. He's just fabulous talent and good guy too.
Yeah, he is all those things. And another Christian brother.
Yep.
Another Christian brother. And he, as a matter of fact, at the NAMM show, he's also a Hammond brother. You
That's
know,
right.
he's a Hammond artist.
That's right.
Matter of fact, he could be almost anything because he plays about every instrument.
He plays them all. I don't know if he does horns, but he
Yeah.
probably could.
Yeah. Oh man, what a talent! Oh yeah, I had some pictures here. So this is, by the way, the guitar player on that you heard, of course, is our buddy Fino Roverato, And here's a picture of you and Fino and I in the studio here. We were doing a guitar session. And we're in the pandemic because we've got our masks on.
That's right.
Fino slid his down a little bit. And then here is a picture of, I think I have a picture of, we had that one with Ellis a minute ago, too. Where did that go?
You're asking me?
Yeah. I'm trying to find it here. Oh, well. I know it was up there for a minute. Okay. So we're back in the groove here. So we got some good songs, and hopefully, prayerfully, we'll have an album out here in about by the end of the year.
Yeah, we got a few more to write, and then we got to record it. But some good stuff. There's another one you have here, isn't there?
Yeah.
That Sarah sang.
You want to hear? We should do that. The song Sarah Nimitz.
Sarah Nimitz is a fabulous talent in her own right, and a wonderful young woman. And I'm really glad that she sang the song. My faith, His grace.
Here we go.
My faith is grace, trusting in His word. My faith is grace, will naturally occur. My trust in His plan, I will faithfully fulfill. My trust is just to do His will. My faith is grace with a debt of gratitude. My faith His grace is an altered attitude. My trust in His plan is reborn in me today. My trust has helped me find a way. Sometimes the best of what we seek is the seeking itself. Even when the calling does not seem clear, it's not more than seeking God's help. My faith is grace. My faith is grace. It's all about my faith is grace. My faith is grace. What else do I need? My faith is grace to spiritually succeed. I trust in His plan, leave the future up to Him. My trust will fill life to the brim. Yes, it's the journey, not the destination. Where you learn on the way. When you face those speed bumps, go slow, my friend. Take time to pray. My faith is grace. My faith is grace. Yeah. It's about His grace. His grace. My faith is grace. My faith is grace. My faith is
Cool stuff.
Thank you for your talent, Robbie.
Thank you for your talent, my brother. And like I said early in the interview, one of the things that people don't, they see you up there playing Funky Berry sax. They see you dancing, they see you grooving, and they know that side if they don't read the liner notes, they don't realize that you had written so many songs for Tower of Power. And one of the songs that is such a great song is You're Still a Young Man.
First one we ever wrote.
And you did a clip, and you just happened to do it over here, which was an honor for me. And that was, you did, you kind of told how you wrote that song. I'm going to play that clip for the audience here. And then maybe we'll play that song. It's a great song. Now, where did it go? Okay, where is it here? Oh, here we go. I think it's this one right here. All right, here's Doc Kupka talking about writing Still a Young Man.
Still a Young Man is the first song Emilio and I ever wrote. Back then, it was really learning on the job. We didn't know that we could write, but we knew what a good song was. And in those days, we would be inspired by some of the songs of the day. So for Still a Young Man, the intro was inspired by A Woman's Love by Curtis Mayfield. One of the major chord changes was inspired by Does Your Mama Know About Me by Bobby Taylor and the Vancouvers, which featured Tommy Chong. And the bridge was inspired by Send My Baby Back by Freddie Hughes. Anyway, it took a long time to write songs then. It's much faster now, but it turns out that is one of our most popular songs that we've ever written.
You're still a young man, baby. Ooh, don't waste your time. Yeah, you're still a young man, baby. Dave Matthews, Ooh, don't waste your time. Down on my knees. So young, can you understand? I think like a man. Still a young man, baby. Ooh, my. Waste your time. See, I'm not a young man, lady. I don't feel I'm wasting my time. Listen, ladies, back once again. Ooh, just begging you, please, darling, think twice about me, 'cause I'm not so bad. I can make you happy. I'm not a if you and I should be together, I'll get to you whenever. I love you, yes I love you only, and I will never leave you.
song.
Yeah, I like it. I admit.
That's the first song you ever wrote
First one, yeah.
Amazing. And it's not what you normally hear with Tower Power, of course, because it's not a groove song. It's a
Well, we got some there's always been a ballad or two on every record, so you know, and we usually do 2 a night, once in a while 3. Always do Still Young Man, unless the trumpet players are too beat up. I mean, that's hard on them at the end of the night.
Yeah.
And, you know, So Very Hard to Go isn't a ballad really, but it's ballad-like changes, you know.
Well, there's a side that our audience, I think, has already seen a little bit of a different side of you tonight. There's a side of you I know that they haven't heard. As a matter of fact, though, before we go there, one of my favorite songs that you wrote is Digging on James Brown.
Well, let's play your version.
Hey, that's right. You and I co-wrote it because I wrote the new lyrics.
Yeah, just muscle in on.
I know. So what we did is we did this for a Jam for Jesus. By the way, you have blessed so many people by doing Jam for Jesus for the last number of years.
Well, I'm honored to do it. You know, ordinarily I don't get in line to do free gigs, but this, you know, if I miss it, I'm upset. And also you introduced me to my good friend George Shelby, one of my favorite tenor players. So that was a nice side benefit of. And some other great musicians too, but he's the one that stands out.
Here's a picture of us together, you and George Shelby and I. And you're wearing a white sport coat, and George is wearing a white sport coat. Of course, you've got your Doc hat on.
That's a little Frankie Valli action.
That is. And it's a big Frankie Valli action because it's with the Pacifica Symphony.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. That was real fun.
The orchestra. Okay, so we did a concert at the Pacific Amphitheater with Frankie Valli and the Pacific Orchestra, and the orchestra was blown away to have the great Doc Kupka playing in the orchestra.
It was fun for me.
Is that the first time you ever did an orchestra gig?
With Tower Power, you know, I mean, I started on oboe, so there was plenty of orchestra back then, but that's been more than 53 years ago. That's been, you know, so anyway, but it's the first time I played with the orchestra with playing the Barry sax.
And people probably don't know about that about you, is that you started on oboe.
Yeah. Well, some people know because I've said it in interviews through the years a lot. But yes, I did, and wasn't going to play soul music on that. Switched to Barry, and here we are, 53 years later.
Well, I would say the music for oboe is a little different than the funky music you play with Tower.
That's right.
Yeah. So, so what were we talking about? Oh, we were talking about Jam for Jesus. So here's a version that. We did this a little kind of takeoff on Digging on James Brown because, well, I think I explained it in Jam for Jesus. So check this out, people. Now, they stand up, Sal, so they remember. And Doc Kupka. Sal Cracchiolo. And so I figured if you got 2/5 of the Tower of Power horn section in your horn section, we've got to do a Tower of Power song. And this is a song that you're going to have to stand up, as Tony would say. Everybody, come on, stand up. You're going to have to, because you can't sit on this next song. It's just too funky.
What? Security.
Ready? Ready? Let's get the music. Okay, here we go. You guys ready?
Yeah!
Are you ready for some Tower of Power song?
Yeah!
1, 2, 3, 4.
once more. To the bridge.
Very cool, man.
Yeah, it was really fun. You took a Saturday night song and put some Sunday morning lyrics to it.
That's pretty cool thought process there. You know what? The band played pretty good for that song too. For That's Not the Tower Power Band, but of course we had two of you guys in there.
Oh yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I just want to say Warren Ham is one of the most talented guys I've ever worked with, and he's a friend too. Yeah, it's always a thrill working with Warren. So hats off to you, Warren, if you're listening.
Amen, brother Warren, and he is. He's one of the most talented humans on the planet. I always said, he could take this piece of paper and make music out of it. He and Ellis Hall both have that same ability. It's like music just pours out of their pores.
Yeah.
So, let's see. What have I not? Well, I do have one thing here. This might be an interesting thing. Emilio Castillo. Emilio did this show called, I guess it was during the pandemic, called Driving with Dave Koz. Are you familiar with this?
No, I haven't heard this.
And he talks about you, and so I think you might find this interesting. Let's check, and I know the audience will find this if I can find the right thing here. Okay, where is it? It's not there. Joe, by the way, set this all up for us, and then he had to go. But thank you, Joe. Shout out to Joe Barsulia, our resident engineer, because Joe is invaluable to what we do here. Thank you, Joe. So everybody saw Emilio Castillo earlier. So here's Emilio and Dave Koz talking about Stephen Doc Kupka.
They were open to letting me use it, but they sent this guy over to interview me to find out if I knew how to take care of it. Was I going to put a Coke on it and spill it? And they sent this guy, Stephen Kupka. And it was Doc, before he got his name, Doc. And he says to me, what kind of band do you have? And I go, well, have you ever heard of a band called the Spiders? And they had just did a gig at Bury Us a Bowl, and the Spiders opened for them and kicked their butts the week before. And so Doc goes, yeah, I know the Spiders. Oh, wow. He goes, your band is like them? I go, well, we try to be. We're, that's what we're aiming at. And he goes, yeah, you can use the organ.
Just like that.
So we play our set, and after the set, he comes up to me, and he says, you got a good band. And we did. We were tight by then. We had 3 horns. We're doing songs like The Duck by Jackie Lee and Baby, B-A-B-Y, Baby by Carla Thomas. And, we were sounding good. He says, you got a good band. I go, thanks. He says, yeah, only one thing wrong. I go, yeah, what's that? He says, your horn section, it needs a little bottom. By the way, I play the baritone saxophone.
Well, look at that.
Yeah, and so we gave him an audition. I gave him an audition. Actually, we had just decided we weren't going to audition any more horn players. We were trying to add a trombone. Mm-hmm. And all the trombone players at our school were square. We're trying to teach them steps and to sing background, and they just didn't know anything about that. And we just made a pact, no more weird horn players. We're tight the way we are,
Because you know that horn players can be weird.
Yes. And I had invited him to come and audition, and I forgot to tell the guys. And when he showed up, and mind you, this is the first hippie we ever met. We were a bunch of little street guys out in the suburb, razor cuts, and, a little soul band. And here comes this hippie guy with this big horn, and
the attitude. I mean, that's the thing about Doc that is so amazing and infectious to watch, is just his total commitment.
Yeah, well, that's what I told the guys. They were like, well, what's this? I said, this guy plays baritone sax. He said, we told you, no more weird horn players. I said, no, this guy, he's got a quirky personality. Let's check him out. As soon as he played a couple of scoops, everybody's eyes got big, and we knew he was the guy. And he came in that day, and he and I became best friends. I mean, he literally became my best friend that day and forevermore.
That's an amazing thing, and look at what you guys have created.
Very cool stuff. So Emilio's talking about, he confirmed your story.
Yep. Anyway, yeah, I haven't heard that interview, but I've heard that story.
Yeah, I bet. He said you were a hippie and they were all these clean-cut kids.
It's true.
Were you a hippie back in those days?
Well, yeah. I mean, not too radical, but I mean, certainly compared to them, I mean, they had razor cuts. They were a show band, you know. And anyway, so nostalgic. How fun.
I found it. So I thought we would see, what were we going to do? Oh, we're going to go to another Jam for Jesus clip.
Oh, yeah.
Now, this is you. Well, the reason Nick Lane, who is our buddy, super talent too there. What an arranger, what a trombone player, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I write songs with him, some secular stuff with him. And, what an arranger. He's my go-to guy. Plus, we have a new Ellis Hall record coming out that he, co-wrote most of the stuff and arranged and engineered. And it sounds real good. It'll be out in a month or two.
And he's been my go-to guy for trombone for years. And what we did is we had, for Jam for Jesus one year, we had you from Tower of Power. We had Bobby Burns from Earth, Wind, and Fire. And we had, who was the other? Nick.
Nick Lane from Chicago.
From Chicago.
For Pankow.
So we had 3 of the greatest horn bands in the history of music all on the stage together, represented on that stage. So I figured we have to do something special. So Nick and I put our heads together and came up with this arrangement. And I know that, and it's always a crowd pleaser. So now we played Squib Cakes earlier, so this has got Squib Cakes in the middle of it.
Yeah, I just want to say I was going cross-eyed playing this tune. It was a lot of fun, but it's I was going cross-eyed. I'll just say that.
Well, you sounded amazing on this. I'm looking for it as we talk. Let's see, it would be called Go Tell It. So we titled it was Go Tell It on the Mountain, done in the style of those 3 horn bands. More
hear
than the style. Go Tell It, and the title was Go Tell It on the, well, it was Go Tell It with a capital G as another reference to you guys. And it goes like this.
Go tell it on the mountain, over the hills and everywhere. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ is born. There came a holy light. tell it on the mountain. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ was born. Go tell it on the mountain. Go tell it on the mountain. Go tell it on the mountain that Jesus Christ was
I think the audience liked that one, brother.
I think so. It was fun. So I say I was going cross-eyed doing that Earth, Wind, and Fire one, but it came out good.
Yeah, that was a good night. So cool to have all you guys for that. But I'll tell you what, when I was looking through stuff, there's one clip that I've just got to play. We played a little bit of Squib Cakes because that's become kind of one of the Doc Kupka signature songs. Even though, as you say, you didn't write it, but Chester wrote that for you as a feature for you. You guys, I don't know what year this is, but this is a long time ago on David Letterman's show.
Probably the mid to late 80s.
And with you and and Paul Schaefer's playing with you guys, and I think it's Paul Schaefer's rhythm section, and then your horn section.
Right? Yeah, that's what they would do is bring the horns on.
So this is really funky stuff. I got to play this. I know the audience that dig it. So, Squib Cakes on David Letterman, featuring Tower of Power. Wow, that was funky.
It was a long time ago. I was much thinner then.
You were much thinner then. We were all much thinner then, brother.
Yeah.
You know what? This has been such a cool night. Such a cool night having you here.
It's been fun. It's been real fun. I'll play with you anytime. I'll be hang out, whatever, write songs, whatever you want to do.
I can't wait for our album to get done, hopefully by the end of the year.
Yeah, well, we got a few more songs to write,
Yeah.
but we're rolling.
We're rolling, baby, and we're rocking. So I think we're going to take it out with one more song, a Doc Kupka song. Now, you did this album, which is a total departure, again, from Tower of Power. Tell the audience about this album. that you did.
It's called Doc Goes Hollywood on my little record label, Strokeland Records. And I tell you what, it's a tough business to be in the record business these days with all the digital, but there's a lot of good songs on this particular album and some of the others that I wrote. Anyway, it was my version of the Great American Songbook of original songs. And I got this one called They Don't Make 'Em Like You Anymore. And I'd like to end with that and to show you another side of my songwriting, the Great American Songbook by Doc.
And by the way, a guy that you worked on this record with, who co-produced it with you, I think, is that right?
Oh, Bill Ross?
Yes.
Oh, Bill Ross, he's the greatest. You know, you might know him. He works with John Williams, with David Foster. He did the Academy Awards a couple times. He's done movies. He's just a great talent, and he's a fan of my music. And we are writing songs to this day ourselves.
And Bill Ross, not only, I remember one of the recent Star Wars movie, he took over as the composer for John Williams. I mean, if you're composing for Star Wars, doesn't get any bigger than that.
Oh, yeah, no, I mean, John Williams knows how talented he is and uses him to full advantage.
Yes. Well, here we go. This is Doc Kupka on Strokeland Records. By the way, you are a record label owner as well.
Oh, yeah, as I say, but it's a tough business these days, but I'm glad to have songs of mine that are recorded in case someone wants to use them in an ad or movie or something.
Well, I'm going to say I'm going to say goodnight to the audience here now because this will be our final song. Before I say goodnight, next week is going to be a really cool show too, because I've got two of my Hammond brothers going to be on. I've got two of the best in the business, actually. Let me see here, Jim Alfredson, this guy right here, and Brian Charette, this guy right here. Now, these two guys are two of the best Hammond organ players in the country, and they're going to be on the show with me next Monday, and we all have Hammond, this cool Hammond here. Sounds pretty good, don't you think, Doc, this thing?
Well, it sounds great, man.
I mean,
It's
amazing.
Yeah, it's nanotechnology
Is that
at its
crazy?
finest.
And it's sure a lot easier to carry than that big one over there in the corner.
Absolutely.
But so back to Strokeland Records, Doc Kupka Goes Hollywood. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Doc Kupka. From the bottom of my heart, thank you so much for coming out here and sharing some of your time and your talent and your history with the Jammin' Java audience.
Well, it's my pleasure, and thank you for everything, Robbie.
All right, brother. Well, here we go. This is called They Don't Make 'Em Like You Anymore. And they don't make 'em like you anymore, brother.
Can figure it, who even wants to try, since normal boundaries don't apply. You define description, space and time, just like a Stradivarius violin, like a symphony by Beethoven. You're a very precious gem. They don't make 'em like you anymore. got that classic quality so rare, timeless kind of flair. When they made you, they broke the mold. Aesop's fables, fairy tales, happy endings from magic spells. Who needs those? We've got our own tale to tell, so timeless as well. Just like a Stradivarius violin, like a symphony by Beethoven. You're a very precious gem. They don't make them like you anymore. No, just like a master craftsman tools his trade. It's with pride I'm here to say that I love you and I always will. There's no one else who's quite like you. Your inner beauty comes shining through, that combined with my thoughts in mind. We're meant to be part of history, of all the class and beauties that the poets write about. None of them got nothing on you. Now clear your pattern, I cleared it alone. Your every detail is by design. Each finely crafted flowing line. The 7 wonders of the world don't hold a candle to you, girl. They don't make them like you anymore. They don't make them like you anymore. They don't make them like you anymore. They don't make them like you anymore.